Each of us knows there is something we need to change in our lives. Maybe it's a habit that's holding us back. Maybe it's a negative mindset that keeps us stuck. Maybe it's a lack of discipline that prevents us from reaching our full potential. Whatever it is that needs changing, we all feel that urgency, that burning desire to finally take control and become the best version of ourselves. The time has come to stop making excuses and take real lasting action. As I look out at all of your faces, I see that hunger for transformation. I see people who are fed up with settling for less than they deserve. But more than hunger, I also see doubt creeping in. That nagging voice that whispers you've tried to change before and failed. What makes this time any different? I understand that doubt all too well, my friends. I've been there myself more times than I can count, staring change in the face and wondering if I really had what it takes. So let me ask you this. Have you truly given change your maximum effort before? Have you attacked it with every fiber of your being, leaving no ounce of energy on the table? Or have you merely given it a half-hearted attempt, allowing the smallest stumble or distraction to derail you? You see, the tragic paradox is that while change is difficult, not changing is miserable. When we stay mired in our self-defeating patterns and unfulfilling circumstances, it slowly but surely eats away at us. We become shadows of who we're truly meant to be. On the other hand, when we make that decision to finally change, when we truly commit ourselves and refuse to turn back, that's when the juices of life start flowing again. We rediscover our passion, our drive, our zest. Problems that once seemed insurmountable now feel like mere speed bumps. But let's be crystal clear. Change is not merely a polite undertaking. It's not a half-hearted wish to be fulfilled by scribing it in a journal. No, real. Lasting change requires intense desire backed up by intense effort and intense perseverance through the inevitable storms that will try to knock us off course. So I'll ask you, gang, are you ready to change this time with every ounce of intensity you can muster, to meet resistance head-on with unwavering determination, to power through setbacks and momentary failures by finding new ways over, under, around, or through them? Because if the answer is yes, I can promise you something profound is awaiting you on the other side. A life of joy, of meaning, of achievement, and self-actualization beyond what you can likely conceive right now from your current vantage point. If that sounds enticing, let me lay out the path we'll tread together. The first step is to get brutally honest with ourselves about what exactly needs to change. No more obfuscating or fueling the yo-yo cycle of denial and short-lived effort. We're going to shine a bright light into the darkest recesses of the habits, beliefs, and circumstances that have kept us shackled. And let me be clear, this truth-telling isn't about punishing or belittling ourselves. This process has to come from a place of tough love and a deep belief that we're capable of so much more, that we have profound gifts to unleash on this world which have been stifled for too long. Once we've stared our dragons directly in the eyes, the next step is to get crystallized on our visions for how we want to change. Vague aspirations of being better won't cut it. We need vivid, emotionally charged pictures of the lives we want to create, the way we want to show up, the habits we want to embody, the successes we want to achieve. These visions have to ignite something deep within us, a burning desire that we'll stoke every single day to propel us through the inevitable trials and losses of motivation along the way, because there's no such thing as change without regular bouts of struggle. That's why having an intensely powerful why behind our changes is so damn crucial. With our visions crystallized and our motivations blazing, we'll then construct comprehensive game plans. Step by step, we'll blueprint out the strategic behaviors, habits, and mindsets we need to repeatedly reinforce. We'll strip away complexities and ambiguities until all that's left are clear, simple marching orders to execute against relentlessly. And when I say relentlessly, I mean it with every fiber of my being. Change doesn't take half measures, my friends. It won't conform to our shriveled demands of comfort and ease. No, It plays an infinitely bigger game that demands our fullest sacrifice and commitment. There will be times when we stumble, when our motivations wane. This is inevitable, and we must accept it as part of the process. The real test is whether we'll find the resilience to pick ourselves back up, recommit to our visions, and keep marching. Because while backsliding is acceptable in the short term, giving up is not an option we can ever entertain. To strengthen our chances, we'll surround ourselves with supportive environments and rituals to continually refuel our drives. We'll seek out friends, mentors, coaches, and examples who embody the changes we want to make. And we'll strip away the toxic influences and energy vampires who would derail us at the first scent of our positive upheaval. We'll attack the process of change on multiple levels: mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, training ourselves like the warriors we are to optimally fire on all cylinders. Each morning, we'll practically rebuild our identities through incantations of powerfully repetitive thoughts, words, imagery, and actions aligned with who we're becoming. And each night, we'll express profound gratitude for our baby step victories, while visualizing the next marches we'll consume with intensity. We'll hold ourselves rigorously accountable to the highest standards with zero escape hatches for a fall from excellence. And when we do stumble, there will be no binging on pity or self-loathing. Only a cold, hard look in the mirror and a doubling down on what needs to change, starting that second. My friends, this is the way of the warrior. This is what cultivates unstoppable momentum to the point where change can no longer be stopped because it becomes quite literally who we are at the deepest core levels. Those among you who resist these truths will never know the immense joys and pride that await those who embrace them. You'll resign yourselves to a life of mediocrity, shriveled dreams, and regret as your potential accomplishments gather dust while you sit complacent. But for those warriors who choose the path of intense ownership and discipline, get ready to reintroduce yourselves to your highest selves. Your lives will begin overflowing with achievement, confidence, pride, fulfillment, and every flavor of richness that life has to offer those who master themselves. You'll become sources of light, magnetizing others with your radiant energy, unstoppable mindsets, and inspiring actions. And perhaps best of all, you'll get to lay your heads on your pillows each night knowing you gave everything you had that day to becoming the highest versions of yourselves. So my friends, I'll leave you with these final words and challenges. First, let me reignite that burning desire by asking you to vividly imagine your lives a year from now if you stay on your current path. How will you feel about yourselves? What regrets and resentments will eat away at you? What hostilities will build up as you turn under unrelenting cycles of self-sabotage? Now, let your minds wander to how your lives could look a year from now if you wholly commit to the changes you know you need to make. What incredible successes and rich fulfillments await. What pounds of inadequacy, shame, and unhappiness will fall off your backs. What standing ovations from your own self-respect will swell your hearts night after night. The choice to finally change is yours and yours alone. No one can make it for you, nor can anyone stop you from doing so. So will you gather every ounce of intensity within you and resolve to make this time differ from all the others? Will you choose to stare directly into what needs changing and charge forward with relentless desire, effort, and determination until your struggles are shed and your highest selves shine through? That decision rests squarely on your shoulders, warriors. Choose the life you know deep down you're meant to create. I'll be fighting beside you every damn step of the way. My friends, I know the path of real change I've laid out is intense. It requires an unwavering commitment and gritty determination that will be tested at every turn. The easy road of complacency and excuse-making will constantly beckon with its siren song of comfort and familiarity. But let me ask you this. Where has that easy road really gotten you? Has it led to the life of your dreams full of accomplishment, pride, and profound fulfillment? Or has it merely entrenched you deeper into frustration, regret, and a dim bulb existence far below your true potential? The path of the change warrior is admittedly more arduous. It demands sacrificing many former habits and pleasures that we're undoubtedly attached to. It requires staring our demons and inadequacies directly in the face without flinching. And it means willingly subjecting ourselves to difficulties, failures, and discomforts galore. But is that not the price of admission for anything extraordinary in this life? What amazing achievement or stunning transformation has ever occurred through the path of least resistance? Of course not, my friends. Monumental change requires monumental effort and monumental struggle. So we must resist the urge to seek out hacks and shortcuts that ultimately avail us nothing. There are no magic bullets to deliver the lives and results we crave, while leaving our deepest selves undisturbed. We must finally arm ourselves with the courage to scour out our biggest inadequacies and flaws with the utmost diligence. Because only once we get honest and vulnerable about our deepest areas in need of change, can we arm ourselves with the insights to vigorously attack them at their roots. Half measures aimed at symptoms will never produce real and lasting transformation. This journey will require peeling back every stubborn layer until our issues lie naked before us in all their causes and complexities. Only then can we devise the comprehensive game plans to actively reconstruct new behaviors and mindsets from the foundation up. Let me be clear. This process will not be clean or comfortable. There will be moments when we come face to face with parts of ourselves that repulse us. When the masks get ripped off and we see how badly we've lied and shortchanged ourselves over the years, it will sting deeply. In those moments, we must resist the urge to recoil or minimize what stares back at us. We cannot flinch or paper over the ugliness with niceties and comforting falsehoods. Instead, we must breathe deeply, accept what we see with sober objectivity, and set a laser-cast intention to change it with every fiber of our being. Because tucked within the discomfort of radical self-discovery lies the genesis of incredible growth and renewal. By laying bare our biggest shortcomings, we open the door to transform them into our biggest assets. The very things we once reviled about ourselves can become our boldest callings and most inspiring declarations for who we're becoming. Each day on this journey, we'll wake up with one burning mission: to craft newer, stronger, more empowered versions of ourselves, to shed stale habits and motives like ill-fitting overcoats until we can stride forth with the full confidence of warriors adorned for the battles we've chosen. This process won't happen overnight, of course. True metamorphosis requires ruthless persistence, adjusting courses, failing forward, and adjusting again until new mindsets and behaviors become second nature. But each day we honor the process and show up committed. We'll reap small victories that compound over time into unstoppable positive force. Inevitably, there will be terrifying moments when we slip and stumble back into formerly entrenched patterns that no longer serve us. In those moments, we must resist the gremlins of self-loathing, shame, and catastrophizing that would have us wallow in regret. Instead, we'll shrug off those failures with sober objectivity, quickly recommitting ourselves to making the adjustments required to get squarely back on track. Because the reality is that failures and setbacks are inevitable when attempting real transformation. What matters most is that we maintain unwavering faith that we will eventually emerge victorious, as long as we refuse to quit or go back to what we were. On this journey, we cannot dwell on our missteps, or they'll quickly become metaphorical anchors, weighing us down until we surrender momentum altogether. We must learn to treat each stumble as merely another step in the remarkable schooling of mastering ourselves fully. Every time we get back up and charge forward, we'll embed newer neuromuscular circuits that will eventually overpower the dated programming we've resolved to erase. It's an intensive process akin to burning new trails through the densest of forests. Each intentional step matters tremendously as we blaze brighter paths, illuminating the blank canvases we're authoring for our lives. And let me be clear, this world kneels before those who author their own lives purposefully. Those who take full ownership for their states and situations resolving to sculpt themselves in their visions rather than resigning to the forms they've inherited. But the masses all around us every day are authoring by inexcusable default. They are willingly living lives of self-inflicted servitude to impulses, outside influences limiting beliefs, and inexcusable rationalizations foisting the blame anywhere but on themselves. And it's a damn tragedy to witness so many resign themselves to environmentally sculpted mediocrity. But that will not be our fate, warriors. We'll light fires of fierce self-determination that will reduce all disempowering influences around us to ashes. Every shriek of negation and doubt from others will merely stoke our blazes into higher funnel clouds of focus and resolve. Because once we commit to changing at the highest level, we'll stand with the enlightened few who chisel away relentlessly in the quarries of their inmost selves, becoming sublime artisans, chipping away at the marble excess until the visions of our highest selves emerge radiantly for the world to behold in stunning relief. Those who lack the courage for this kind of intensive self-sculpting will look on in awe, secretly wishing they could trade places with us. But they'll never realize that the only way to stand where we do is to walk this same path of humbling yet emboldening intensity, said fragility and self-deceit in each successive step until we're reborn anew in our most empowered incarnations. This is the path that will help us extract every last ounce of our immense potential rather than tragically squandering it. On this path, there's no space to shrink back or sell ourselves short with meager, complacent living. No, we'll learn to crave bigger and bolder futures that inspire adrenaline rather than anxiety when we envision them. Each day will see us lean heavier into the discomfort of stretching our limits with intensity, shedding what has constrained us in the process. Self-imposed cages holding us stagnant will creak open, one bar at a time, until we rip them off entirely and soar into the vast playgrounds that await our commitment. And as our transformation solidifies with earned mastery, we'll revel in resculpting the world around us as well, with the brilliance and resilience to inject empowering light everywhere it's deficient, inspiring and igniting legions in our wake to bravely follow us on these enlightened trails of total ownership and transcendence. Because ultimately, that is the highest reward awaiting the committed change warriors among us. Yes, you'll reap outer material successes and emotional riches that you can scarcely conceive right now from your formerly limited perspectives. But you'll also experience the most sacred achievement of all, the ability to emanate genuine inspiration to your fellow humans from a place of authenticity and heart. You see, the world is desperate for people shining as beaming examples of what's possible when we take full ownership of our lives and circumstances. It's yearning for real change agents who walk their talks with intensity and integrity, leaving indelible trailblazing impacts everywhere they roam. We live in a society plagued by quiet desperation and choking complacency. Large swaths of humanity merely exist rather than vibrantly live, settling for existences compressed by fears, laziness, and half-hearted efforts that could never possibly set their souls on fire. But you, my warriors for self-mastery, have sworn a blood oath that you will never be counted among the wretched rank and file. You've resolved that a life of mediocrity, regret, and proportional shriveled dreams is simply no longer an option for you. Not when you've glimpsed the indescribable realms awaiting those who fiercely transform their lives from rhetoric to reality. By walking this path, you'll inspire all as you radiate the relentless discipline and stretching that brings forth one's highest powers and purpose. Everywhere you roam, you'll be a living demystification of the cliches, like you miss 100 of the shots you don't take, and the pain of discipline weighs ounces while the pain of regret weighs tons. Trailing in your wakes will be legions who can finally grasp the profundity in those words because they've witnessed you embodying them viscerally. They'll see you laboring with aliveness, chasing unchartable dreams, and achieving impossible renditions of yourselves previously obscured behind walls of doubts and fears. With your inspiriting examples, you'll gradually give more and more people indelible visions for the massiveness awaiting them as well. should they finally opt to join you as change warriors. You'll awaken them to the truth that their permanence on this earth need not be fleeting afterthoughts, but brilliantly chiseled self-monuments built through the grueling work of molding themselves. Inevitably, some will still shrink from your lights, dismissing your shining examples as unrealistic or unattainable for them. And that's okay, because you can't rescue those wholly committed to sleepwalking through their underwhelming human scripts. You can only blaze forward, undeterred as empowering guides, for those ready to escalate their ambitions and ascensions. For those who join you on these uptrailing paths, be prepared to offer them the same fierce compassions that have burned your own breakthroughs into reality. Share with them the insights and turning points you've discovered for overpowering fear, quieting doubts, and sustaining motivational furnaces of purpose through every raging storm of opposition. Gift them with the secrets you've divined for resilience and adaptability to meet inevitable failures, not as indictments of your efforts, but momentary scene breaks to make vital adjustments and new attempts unburdened by the prior stumble's weight. Failure is only formidable for those who incessantly wallow in its pits. But for us warriors, we'll use it as gunpowder hurling us back up to relaunch our sustained bombardments. Grant them the techniques you've precision engineered for excavating your most potent visions and affirmational drivers. Those blazing mental pictures you fan into 5 alarmed infernos that expunge any temptation for the compromised miniature lives that 99 of your species sadly resign themselves to. Because for you and those who join your light brigades, only picturesque rendering your wildest ambitions into tangible substantiation will ever suffice. Finally, imbue them with the unshakable faith and conviction that your metamorphoses are not mere platitudinous ideals or improbable, far-flung perspectives. No, for you change warriors, the most monumental transformations of selfhood are inevitabilities, declared by the sacred commitments, seared into your inmost. Don't theorize about whether your most empowered renditions will one day manifest. Speak of them in the tongue of fight, accomplish.